right, welcome in everybody. TJ Downing, John Lowery, Jamie Fausnight here on finals day at the 46th M.I.T. wrestling tournament here inside of Medina Senior High School. Right down here on these mats, we got guys that are going to be fighting for a trophy, a championship to walk away as a winner of this tournament that we had a chance to hear yesterday when we talked to tournament director Lynn Hotaling. The history that goes into this thing, and we're happy to be here, happy that our friends over there at Wrestle One Tournaments were able to put us up in the driver's seat here to be able to bring you all this great action. And thank you for everybody that's streaming us live on our Stark Media Team YouTube channel, everybody that's followed along with us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check it out. Like, subscribe, share. Allow us to grow this thing and make it bigger and reach the masses and bring wrestling to the light and show these great competitors, not only the guys, but the girls as they get in this year, and they will be sanctioned by OHSAA, and they will compete for state championships down in Columbus. All right, as I welcome in my partners here, real quick, guys, we know that we just had the consies here. Jamie, you've been here a little bit earlier than us. Tell us about some of the action from earlier this morning.
Well, as the day started out, everybody here there today is a placer. So if they won in the consi round, their first round that started the day, they moved on to the consies. If they lost, then they'll be wrestling for 7th and 8th in this round. If they won, they moved into the consi semis, which means they would get the loser of the semifinals that just completed. So essentially, we're going to have the 7th and 8th matches going on in the consi semis. So the winner goes in for 3rd and 4th. The loser goes in for 5th and 6th. So everybody that we see are placers at this tournament. It's a very big accomplishment to be here at this point in the tournament for anybody wrestling. So everything has gone pretty well so far. There's 2 North Canton kids placing, and one of our Northwest kids is a placer.
Yeah, awesome. We had a chance, snapped up a little picture for you for everybody to check out on social media. Talk about those 2 young men from North Canton.
Christian Friel and Alex Bosky are our 2 placers. Christian Friel was our lone placer last week in North Canton. He took 8th place, and he's just a sophomore, undersized guy wrestling in a big man weight class. He needs to stay out of his own way and not make the same mistakes that he multiple times in the same match. Alex Bosky's a tough kid. He's a junior. He came across the buzzsaw yesterday in the quarters, and we were looking at the brackets, and I think he had the closest match with that kid. He smoked his guy in the semifinals. I think he's in a good position to place in the top 4. I think he's got a winnable match here in this round, so should be an exciting round to see where the chips fall.
Yeah, John, some of that action we got a chance to see yesterday from some of those local products, as Jamie just mentioned. Alex Bosky, who took on Hunter Martin from Beechwood. You also had Josh Ferris in 138 taking on Connor Haney from Medina. You had Lucas Nair from Northwest taking on Malachi Sharpley, and boy, the young man from Solon, we were pretty impressed, right?
Oh, my goodness. That dude was fire out there on the mat, man. It's good to see that Solon's still kicking it, even after the legendary Dio Giovanni we talked about earlier had been gone from the program. Still got that magic touch, though, there in Solon, so shout out to them on that. Just an update on the team score. We got in 4th place Highland Medina, 109. In the points, Avon Lake in 3rd with 113. Wauseon up in that 2nd spot with 138. Look, Medina still rocking this tournament out there at 191, about to hit that 200 mark, man.
Now at this point, it's probably out of reach.
It's out of reach, I agree.
I don't think that some of those teams that were in the 2nd and 3rd spot matched up with them in the semis and slowed them down.
All right, before we kind of break down some of those team scores and some individuals here that we're going to get a chance to see, I believe Lynn told us that those finals will get started roughly around 3 o'clock, and they'll move the mats. And, again, we'll kind of reposition the camera here for you guys to be able to check out what's going on, not only hear us, but be able to see the action down on the mat. Want to give a special shout-out not only to our partners here at Stark Media, but the guy that we got a chance to meet yesterday, Daryl and his wife Joyce, owners of North Gateway Tire Company, their grandson Creed Hill wrestling in this tournament. They are the title sponsor, and they've been so for over 20 years. Wow. Also a great little tribute to Vince Matucci, who was a head official for years here, passed away just a year ago today. So shout out to Lynn Hoteling again. They kind of put together something special here earlier this morning. And as those concies got underway about 9 o'clock, again, our friends over there, Daryl and Joyce, owners of North Gateway Tire, what a great job they've done here. And Lynn, as director of this deal for over 30 plus years, the Medina Invitational Tournament in all of its glory. Our special partners we want to talk about here at Stark Media starts with our friends over at the Eagles FOE 190. Can't get it done without those guys. Please go over there, check them out. They're at 303 Wyrick Boulevard in downtown Massillon. Call them at 330-832-7385. And also check their website out at the Eagles190.com. That's Eagles190.com. And this is a group that donates over $100,000 a year to local charities. So get involved, go over there, sign up, be a part of special food and drink deals that they have going on every day. It's like $20 to get your application, $24 a year for the membership. We were going to talk about a lot of different partners here throughout the day. Hilscher-Clarke Electric Company, finally here, Ohio.com, McNeill and Sons Tree Service, Lindseys Pizza, and our friends over at CH Vallos and Associates. All right, guys. Yesterday kind of thinned out the herd a little bit. Right?
Sure did. Yeah.
And what we have ahead of us here now, though, and we kind of talked about it too, comparing this to what we saw at the Hoover Holiday and how this tournament kind of stacks up against that. We've been up there at your old stomping grounds in Cuyahoga Falls at Walsh Jesuit for the Ironman. Premier talent in the country.
Right.
But what you're going to see out here today on these finals is they're already starting to rip up the mat. These are elite wrestlers.
This is what Jim Bostic refers to as cutting the fat off the steak, TJ. Yeah, and I agree, man. This is where you get to the tough of the meat here, man. This is the grinder, this round, and then the finals, of course. But it's good to see still a great turnout. This is a consolation round. This gym is pretty full for
I'll say this, I'm never going to compare any of these tournaments to Ironman. Ironman is in a league of its own.
Right.
Then when you get to, like I said, tournaments like the North Canton Holiday Tournament, the Medina Invitational, Brecksville, Top Gun, those kind of things, some weight classes may have a difference in depth, but when you get to this point, everybody's the real deal. These guys are solid wrestlers, and they're going hard, and they're just trying to improve at this point in the season.
As far as placement goes in these next round coming up, that's going to determine, like Jamie was talking about earlier, where they end up, placing, finishing out. Obviously, we know that's important, the higher you finish in there. One thing that I always notice at these tournaments, though, is some guys get real hung up on, I had a close match here and woulda, coulda, shoulda. What does that mean to a wrestler, Jamie, that placing at a big tournament like this time of the year?
Well, in that scenario that you bring up, that's why these tournaments are important, because you can't be satisfied. You can't like for one of the boys that might have lost, and he's like, well, at least I'm in for 7th and 8th, and this match you don't see his best effort.
Right.
You utilize these times to make sure that they're competing at their very highest at the end of the last day. That's what it really boils down to, because down the road you have to be able to compete at a high level after a loss when you're talking about districts or the blood round at the state tournament.
Yep.
Those are the conversations that are happening in the hallways with kids. They're reeling them back in and explaining to them, it's not, I don't want you to be satisfied. There are going to be some kids here that you're not going to see their best match just because they're happy that they're a placer at this thing. You want to make sure that they finish strong. That's the number one thing with all these matches is getting them to compete at their very peak on the very last time they perform.
Ironing, sharpening iron, we always talk about there, and it's cool seeing that. Especially at a tournament like this, looks like they're already getting that mat ready on the back end there, the gym.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to run 4 mats.
Okay.
From what I'm seeing, I didn't hear anything, but they probably don't need all 6. They might not have adequate rest time if they run all 6 matches, because these guys just wrestled the semis.
Right.
You run all 6 mats, and these 215s are going to be going in with like 20 minutes rest. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the state rule is 45
minutes. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. I think Jim talked about that before.
These guys are all in shape to be able to walk off the mat breathe for 15 minutes and go back out there. But if the rest isn't equal for all at minimum 45 minutes, then it's, that's why they have it that way. It's for the safety of the kids too.
Gotcha.
All right, let's talk about some of the teams here at the 46 Medina Invitational Tournament. We know that there are 2 out-of-state teams. Michigan has a team in the deal. We'll talk about them here in just a second, but there is just a lone wrestler from Brownsburg, Indiana. I believe they Lynn mentioned that their team was wrestling at another tournament.
Their team is wrestling in Brecksville today, and he was, a rock solid kid that just couldn't make the lineup, like how the Perry kids were at our tournament last week. He was in the quarters. I lost track of him, but that was one of the things is their team was done. And I was standing over by the scores table or the head table over there, and the coach came in. He goes, "Hey, we want to just bring our team in. We have a break. We want to watch him in the semi." So his whole team came and watched him, or quarters. I'm sorry. His whole team came in and watched him wrestle in the quarterfinals, and then they left and went back to their hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was nice. I listened to Lynn and the athletic director hash it out how they were going to handle it. Medina was really a good host in that moment to take care of that team. It was nice of Medina to allow that kid in with his team not even here.
Right.
It was a pretty neat experience for all involved there.
All right, so that team out of Michigan, that is the Clarkston Wolves. They're coached by Brian Gibbs. 16 all-time state champions, 71 state placers out of that Michigan school. All right, the rest of the groups here, rest of the squads from around the state. You've got the Ashland Arrows, you've got the Austintown Fitch Falcons, Avon Eagles, and the Avon Lake Shoremen. Also Beechwood Bison, you got the Beaver Creek Beavers, Bedford's here, Brunswick's here, the Buckeye Bucks, which John mentioned, they are leading this thing and most likely will be your team champion. I don't think there's going to be enough points for Wauseon, who's at number 2, to be able to come in and steal that away. You've also got the Cloverleaf Colts. We've seen a lot of their guys out there. Division 2 school, Division 3 school, Columbia, the Raiders. You've got Copley here, Delta Panthers. You've got Elyria Catholic. They are also the Panthers. You've got Firelands, Galleon. You've got Genoa area, the Comets. You've got the Highland Hornets. And from down there in Central Ohio, you've got Hilliard Derby. You've also got the Hoover Vikings and the Northwest Indians. Some local products for us down out of Stark County. You've got Lutheran West. You've got Mansfield Senior. Mayfield is here. The Medina Battling Bees are in it. We had a chance to talk to Chad Gilmore yesterday. Quickly, he had some guys down there wrestling, so he popped in for about 5 minutes.
He really enjoyed that. I kind of went back and forth with him on Facebook last night. He was excited to do that.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to talk again to Chad Gilmore. Also, Miami East is here, New Lexington, North Ridgeville. The Rangers are here. Northmore, Oak Harbor, the Rockets, the Olentangy Braves are here. Olmsted Falls, Asiago Knights, and you've got Solon, who we talked about, Malachi Sharpley, really, really good young wrestler. Yeah. So we'll check out the Solon Comets with a all-time 21 state champions out of that school and 78 state placers.
He's
out of
feeling
the
good. I had a little talk with him today. He's
Malachi.
Yeah. I talked to him down on the floor. He looks great. Yeah, and there is crazy tradition at Solon High School, and he's just another one that's going to add to it.
Coached by Mike Thompson. Then you've also got the Upper Arlington Golden Bears here as well. We talked about Wauseon, the Indians, coached by Mike Ritter. And then you've got the Wellington Dukes and one final one out of Central Ohio, the Westerville North Warriors, 6 all-time state champs, coached by David Graham. So a good group here. You've got 39 total teams, plus that young man out of Brownsburg, Indiana.
And teams like that,
plus 2 years off.
Right.
As we talked to Lynn about that yesterday, getting this thing fired back up, getting people here into the bleachers, getting the wrestlers back out on the mat after a 2-year break. It's you wouldn't expect it. I believe she said at one time, they were averaging about 60 teams here.
Right. She did say that. It started out with 16.
They did a lot of individuals. Yeah. Like, she counted the kid from Indiana as a team.
Right.
And so, like, when I wrestled here, like we talked about the one with LeCure's weight class where the one kid came from Wheeling Jesuit. There were a lot of individuals that came to this tournament, like Ironman. Ironman kind of took a little bit of that from this tournament, but in the 80s and the 90s, if you came in here and you won this tournament, you were in the driver's seat to win a state title. You were a bad dude.
Yeah,
you were a bad dude.
Absolutely. It's those teams that TJ mentioned that make this thing what it is. And shout out to Ashland on the fan base here
Yeah,
today. Man, they are rocking.
They were even giving me pointers on things I should say. Maybe I'll bust one out later, but we'll have to put that in my back pocket.
Right.
Yeah, Mom over here was giving me some
Saving
advice.
that one for the right time.
Yeah,
She seemed pretty excited.
she was, and I what's their kid's name? It was
Spots.
Yeah,
Not
We'll have to-
sports.
right. You said it wrong, and she corrected you in a heartbeat, man. I look forward to seeing that match. Her son was a tough 215 from Ashland. He lost in a real tough match in the semis.
Super good match. Yeah,
He's going to come through a neighboring kid from Mansfield Senior. I think that's a matchup that we'll have to watch for in the final.
Yeah, she
They
mentioned
both
it.
have to win. They lost in the semis, so they both have to win to wrestle for third and fourth, or they both have to lose.
Seemed like they might have seen each other before.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really cool about this tournament is, there's the teams that are here. There's a lot of them that have like really rich wrestling tradition. Like schools like Oak Harbor, schools like Solon, North Canton, Delta. Those are teams that vie for. They're top 10 teams in the state all the time. It's really neat to see those teams here, and the fan bases follow.
Is this Malachi over here?
No.
Okay.
He won in the semis.
He won in the
He won't
semis.
wrestle till tonight.
Okay. And I believe Lynn said, yeah, that'll probably start around 3:00. So we'll be here for the duration, getting you dialed in here for the finals coming up. Great crowd filled in here.
All right, and just so you understand, so on mat 2 here, I'll just go through them real fast. We got from Clarkston, Brady Voigt versus Mike Soto from Genoa. He's up 4-0. He got the green. On mat 4, we got Preston Lefar also from Clarkston. So we got 2 Clarkston boys out on the mat at the same time. And that's another consolation semi against Carter Slabowski from Hilliard Darby. Mat 5, we got Evan Hainfield. You mentioned Delta, what a great D3 powerhouse they are. And he's up against Nathaniel Carter, also from Clarkston. Clarkston got 3 out there at the same time this round. And then Delta has another one on mat 6, Tyler Barnes. He's a freshman. They're just starting up down there against Edward Skiba from Brunswick. So a lot of tough programs, like Jamie said. And mentioned Oak Harbor, maybe think of the Bergman family. Paul, J.D. Bergman. Shout out to you guys if you're listening in.
They had a family.
J.D. Bergman, he was an Ohio State wrestler, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He was down there about roughly around the same time as I was.
That's right. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
I crossed his paths a couple times.
They have a lot of pride and tradition in their program. They always have tough kids.
Absolutely. Yep. I actually my pop spot a vehicle out from all the way at Oak Harbor. I didn't realize that's where I was taking him to, but he bought it sight unseen.
Wow.
Never a good idea with a car, but it was nice. It was like classic, Cadillac kind of deals. But we went out there and got to the dealership, and they had inside this dealer. It was a big dealership out there, out by Oak Harbor. They had photos up on the wall of the, Oak Harbor wrestling, like Bergman's, all that. So it's a big deal in that town, that community there. So
no doubt.
It's cool to see that.
I know we got some different wrestling programs coming up here that we'll be covering throughout the month of January. We're going to get a chance to get out there and see Ryan Riggs over at Mount Union. They've got, I believe it's their OAC. Is it the Mount Union Open Mat? Not. I believe they're hosting about 8 teams that he said January 8th or January 14th.
Coming up, that first week in January.
We're going to get a chance to get up to Case Western. We're also going to get a chance to check out. We're going to head over to Top Gun, see what's going on over there.
I look forward to that.
Yeah, it's
one of my favorites too.
I love the Top Gun. That's a great tournament.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday too. Shout out to Canton City Schools and Mike Schott, who recently came over from Alliance to Canton City as the athletic director. And
what a cool guy that
he
is.
Said, he's like, I want to put something together here, and they had about 24 teams at the field house, the Memorial Field House. It's like,
awesome.
hey, I want to make this like what we had over there in Alliance.
A little inside scoop that I heard about that tournament. And I don't know if it's like public knowledge, but I heard that he paid the officials very well. And and officiating is we all hear that story about the officials. There's a drought for officials. It's hard to get new guys. You start there. You make sure the tournament runs perfectly with people who know how to run the tournament. The matches are officiated well.
Right.
He got great officials to come to that thing. and then it just grows from there. People hear about it, they hear
Yeah.
that it's a good tournament, then you start to filter in different teams, and then next thing you know, it's
Well,
it can turn into something like this. I thought that was a great move. I heard that when I was hanging out with some of the officials last week.
Well, yeah, and if you're a team and you hear that kind of news, and like you said, they're trying to travel through the wrestling community grapevine, absolutely, yeah.
When you're a coach, you're a coach looking at a tournament, the last thing you want to hear is, "Well, the officials were terrible."
Yeah. Right.
You know,
that's huge. Yeah.
You know, and that doesn't you don't hear that often, but if you do hear it, you want
right.
You might reconsider.
Smart.
Yeah. I mean, we know some of the pitfalls that we've seen recently with just like a sport like football, just having enough officials.
Yeah.
They've had JV games, freshman games that they've had to cancel or postpone because they couldn't find enough guys. We see got a Northwest Indian coming out here on mat number 5. I believe I don't think that's Josh Ferris. A little too skinny to be Josh.
Yeah, I got you. On mat 5, we have Josh Ferris.
It is Josh. He lost a little weight since yesterday.
Shrunk up a little bit. But like Rocky Balboa, he's still at it fighting in this tournament. He's up against Trent Vandeheen from Hilliard Derby. And they about to get out of here at 138.
Yeah, again, though, shout out to all these officials. Some of our guys here on the Stark Media team, Brad Scarborough and Jason Atkins, what those guys do out there for the wrestling community. And I know Jason always tells me, man, he said, you have any conversations with those people down there at OSHA or anybody say, hey, pay your officials more, but
right.
It's a real thing.
It is. If you can find a way to, squeeze an extra $20, $25 on top. And I'm not sure, Jamie, if you know what for like a standard duel, what might these refs be getting to come in?
I'll tell you what, for a duel, they're getting like, I want to say it's like $60 to $75, which isn't a lot for 3 hours of work. They have to get there for weigh-ins. Right. They got to do skin check. And then they got to put up with guys like me that are not satisfied with their job sometimes. But I mean, they have to. They hear it from the fans. They hear it from everybody, and their ultimate goal is to not be noticed. That's their. The referee was never there. I've heard enough of them say that. It's not a glorifying job. But those guys, a lot of them just don't have time to coach, and they have a love for the sport, and they want to give back.
It's a way to give back.
They obviously don't do it for the money,
right?
But they do it for the passion for the sport, and we can't lose people like that. Our sport needs every single person that has passion for it.
Josh Ferris is going to head to period number 2 with a 2-0 lead. And we had a strong group of Northwest Indians over here the other day. I believe they were kind of right behind some of those Ashland fans. Over there in that top left corner. Doesn't look like there's as many back today, but good group of them. And we got a chance to see the big fella, Owen Reinford. I believe he'll be wrestling for 7th, 8th place. No, Owen lost that final match of the evening when we saw those bigs last night.
Right. And Ferris, by the way, just took a wrist there and almost gave up some back points, but recovered well. Got a nice reversal. Clamped down that elbow tight. That's key. You're trying to roll that guy when you're on bottom, right, Jamie?
Yeah. You got to you have to control the wrists. You have to you have to get him out of position. When you guys were talking about Clarkston, Michigan, I have a contact out in Michigan, and whenever something comes up, I'm like, hey, what do you know about this team? And I reached out to him. He already responded. Coach John Jeffire, here's one of the robes right here. Stolen robe right there.
Real
quick, I want to say, you're looking sharp, dude. I love it. Hey, yeah. So I reached out to my buddy Mike Conflitti out in Detroit, and he runs a club team with John Jeffire, and they call it the Detroit Roughnecks. And right when I said something about Clarkston, he goes, "Oh, there's some Roughnecks on that team." So one of my college teammates actually trained the kid that pinned my son first round yesterday.
Okay.
He said he's like, "Yeah, one of my boys wrestled Tanner first round."
Oh, wow.
And then he has another one. The 13 and the 20 were both really tough. That my buddy Mike said. And shout out to the Roughnecks. They're both tough. And the Roughnecks, that team with the John Jeffire, I told you he does a lot of international. So they take those kids. They went to Sweden this summer. They went to Sweden this summer. They raised money and did all that. I'll tell you what, that's one of the toughest club teams in all of Michigan.
Stopped by Zurich on the way back.
That's right. Switzerland.
Looks like Ferris still with a 2-0 lead. About 28 seconds remaining here in the second period.
Ferris doing a good job. Got that leg in. I don't know if it's, easy to see from the vantage point, but like seeing something me and Jim noticed. These kids today, Jamie, maybe you've noticed that too. They don't really put the full legs in. They kind of squeeze a little bit of a boot in.
Well, you know what? There's two different ways. Like I would run legs differently than someone his size would. And I'll ride legs short, where you just stick your heel in there, you hook the back foot, anchor your back in, and you run your power.
Seen a lot of that.
That's become very common. It's a lot safer than
play.
The old school crossbody, go guillotine, and all that stuff. That's kind of, and then there's a time and a place for that. But it's kind of outdated a little bit, and you have to have a certain body type to. Mike Rogan,
perfect
bad
dude
with crossbody rides like that.
Right.
A state champ that I had the privilege of coaching.
Long body, I got
many years ago, yeah. He was like 6'2" or 3", at 171, and he was just he could ride like that. Whereas,
it's
shorter guys like me have to do it a different way.
Well, it's a risk versus reward kind of idea too, and so I think that's the approach we're seeing a lot more, and it's smart, it's smart wrestling. I get it.
That's the thing with wrestling is it's like every kid has different abilities. He may not run a 4.4, or be able to have a 30-inch vertical. You have to teach him how to be successful with the things that he can do.
Run a great route.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. You
block.
You get the most out of the kid, and once the kid finds success, I think we said it yesterday. One of the most important things is a kid has to find something that he believes in. When he puts his foot on the line, he knows he can hang his hat on something.
Right.
And until they find that thing that they believe they can do to anyone.
Oh, look at Ferris over here. He's going to look to end this thing.
He almost locked his hand. That would have been
He's got a 3-2 lead right now. He's in a battle here, leading 3-2 with a minute remaining in the third period.
I think they're holding some back points. Did they give it to him already? They didn't give him any back points.
He didn't give him that. No, I don't know if he's going to reward him.
1 minute remaining, holding on to a 1-point lead.
I see.
He might be. Is he still holding it?
He's not holding it.
He's not. No.
I saw Coach Chad Gilmore giving that ref the business earlier before you guys got here.
Oh, yeah. No way.
They disagreed. Friendly disagreement. You know what's funny though?
Agree to disagree.
You know what's funny about this is I'm as as loud and obnoxious as any coach that'll sit in the chairs. The referees understand that about me. But when the referees and the coaches understand that whatever happened on this match doesn't matter anymore when you go on to the next one, once coaches and referees have that appreciation for each other.
He was leading 4-2 with 30 seconds left. Now it's 4-4.
You can have some pretty intense.
It's going to go to 6-4 now in favor of Hilliard.
There's still 20 seconds left. They've been scoring points.
Yeah. Beauty of the
sport.
He's
coming up to his feet. He's going to body lock him. Uh-oh. He's going to get 2. No, they're going to call him out.
2.
One escape. That's a good call.
Okay.
That's a good call. He gave lost control there.
6-5, 11 seconds left. Ferris trailing by 1.
This is what you train for right here.
Right.
This is what it's all about. Down 1, 10 seconds ago. Clock didn't start right away, so he got another second out of it.
Get that leg back.
That's where you got to fight.
And that's the difference, in those key situations, the guy knows you're about to shoot. You have to fake. You have to do something to get him off guard. If you're just standing flat-footed and you take one desperation shot, every kid at this level right now is going to stop that shot.
Right.
Just sprawl out, kick those legs back, right?
You have to fake. You have to do something to make him guess.
Well, there's not enough time to eat up like a good stall call or anything like that.
Right. You have nothing like that.
Yeah. But
hey, real quick, both of you guys and Jamie, you kind of touched on this for a second as I was kind of keyed in down there on Ferris and his chair, his corner over there. You don't see Art Kali down there, and he's the head coach there for Northwest. But you got Talarchik, and you've got his son Josh over there, or his nephew Josh.
Talked to Josh earlier, yeah.
Right. So, what is the philosophy about who is in your corner?
Well,
Is it not always a head coach?
it's
Obviously,
not always. Well, you look at it like, if you look for you to understand, like you can look at, does Kevin Stefanski need to call plays?
right?
You know what I mean? It's kind of that thought process.
Yeah.
The head coach kind of can oversee.
You got your coordinators.
You're right. You get, there was always kids that wanted me in the chair, and then there were always kids that wanted my brother in the chair.
Right.
It's a comfort zone. You're in a foxhole with that kid.
Right.
You make a difference in that match. People don't really understand how much of an impact the guy in that chair makes. So if you as the head coach see that kid performs a little better when David Tularczyk is sitting there, you're not going to put yourself in the chair in front of him. However that kid wins reflects on you. You get to the super high level guys like when Dave Riggs ran Perry. Dave Riggs wasn't in the chair very often.
No.
He had the kids. He had the two grown men that took turns on that kid in the wrestling room,
Right.
in there doing
Flynn or somebody on him. Yeah, exactly.
That's how you do it. And it's a very high intensity moments out there. So if a guy goes out of bounds and he looks over his corner and that relaxes him, he feels safe and comfortable, then he can go back out and put his foot on the line and compete at a high level. So a lot of it just really depends on who the kid responds to the most.
Right.
You guys saw Alex Bosky was looking up at me during his quarters match. It's just like that. I mean, he's always was very comfortable with me, and that's what you do. Coach Gamble never had a problem with me being in the chair, in those scenarios with kids like that.
I agree with Jamie. It's 100% about the kid's response to that coach, that relationship, that rapport that they've built up, over time. And, so it's funny because, as a coach, Jamie, you probably experienced it before where all of a sudden you notice, hey, this coach actually,
there's a rapport and a bond.
Hey, this kid's doing better when so-and-so's sitting there in the corner. So let's keep that going, So there's always
and that's when you have to eliminate. That's when you have to eliminate ego in the coaches. Because I could be coaching. I could be, just to make an example. You have Christian Friel and Alex Bosky coming up at the same time. We have three coaches over here. If one of them that responds better to Christian, he should be over there with him right now.
Right.
The other one's over here with Alex warming up. And then the head coach, he determines which chair he needs to go with. To with the kid.
True.
Or you're on the other mat. You're on the other mat and you come over to like a kid that responds well to you, or somebody else comes over and that guy, the kid responds well to him. You jump right out of that chair and you let him take over,
I've always noticed it's like you mentioned before, sometimes it's those practice room coaches, the guys like a Zach Miser that's out there actually running the show for Hefner, or the guys that, growing with the boys those are guys that I think do a really good job in the chair. And the head coaches know that. Look at, remember Greg Urbis, I think he still has probably the most individual state championship record in the state of Ohio. But St. Ed's coach, he had the CEO, I called it, coaching style, where he'd be up there, in the box, man. He didn't even go down to the floor.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. But, at the same time, though, I'd see Greg sometimes, stand kind of over the two assistants in the chairs. Just kind of stand back and maybe be on his bulletin board there, or
taking notes.
Yep. But the most extravagant notes I've ever. I took a glance at his notes one time. I mean, looked like dude was writing a mini novel.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You can learn some things from those notes. You can write a book off of that.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because here we are today, and how many coaches in this gym are doing anything like that? It's another thing that's changed, but at the same time, I don't think that's as important as it used to be. What do you think, Jamie? Is it and the unknown factor? What's that like today versus back when we wrestled?
I mean, it depends on the coach. I'm not that good it's not that I'm not that good at it. I don't always really care about your opponent. I'll scout him at the tournament. I'll watch his match before. I'll catch a couple of tendencies that he does,
right,
and we'll kind of work accordingly from there. But like to go around and like some coaches back in the day would record their next opponent, which is totally illegal.
Wow.
They would record that kid, go back into the back room, watch him wrestle, and then they would come up with a plan. I never did anything like that.
And you've got that little 45-minute window, right, where you can kind of install something there with your guy.
But I mean, realistically, like nowadays you can't help that. Everybody in this place has a
Oh,
video
yeah.
camera on their phone.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen old Coach Walt Hilscher-Clarke march up there, up to a spot like this, and take somebody's camera in the early 90s and the 80s. Shut that off.
Awesome.
I want the video. You can't
I
be
would love to
recording
see
my
that.
kid. Oh, yeah.
Smash it against the wall.
Yeah. Where you didn't mess with Coach Hilscher-Clarke.
Shout out to Hilscher-Clarke, man. Walt is a legend in North
He
Canton.
was.
Legend.
You know, you can, you go to like those websites like Yappy and
Richard,
stuff like that and ask,
remember
who's the greatest coach in Ohio history. His name always comes up.
Richard Faustin.
Richard Faustin was a bad dude.
Faustin was a bad dude.
Yeah.
I ran into him, man.
Yeah, he wrestled for West Liberty. I'm Facebook friends with him. I hear from him here and there. Yeah, he was an All-American.
He was working as a, I think he was a police officer. He was, in that area years ago, and he was working as security at the tournament I was wrestling in. Yep. And I had something that said Ohio on it, and it caught his eye. And he came over, and he's like,
he's a cool dude.
You probably never heard of, Hilscher-Clarke, but he was my coach. Is he still around in Ohio? I'm like, bro. I know who you are, bro. I was like,
wow, this guy over here on mat number 5
too.
for Avon, the Avon Eagles. He got the pin with 1 second remaining.
That's awesome. You know what?
He's already leading 3-0, but he was able to close it out.
Another X factor in this sport, man.
I think that's the best life lesson.
Every second's golden, right?
Yeah.
It's the best life lesson that wrestling teaches, so you're never out of it.
Never
out of it. Until you shake hands and they raise that dude's hand, you have a chance to win. We got Christian Frio up against the Clarkston kid here. So let's see what one of my kids against one of my buddies' kids looks like here. Christian better not let me down.
All right, Christian.
A little arm drag.
Well, I love, too, as you mentioned yesterday, Jamie, those guys were kind of looking up at you as they were in between rounds coming off. And, we could hear pressure, certain things that they know that they have heard from you that instantly it caught their attention. And they looked up and kind of get
and what's really funny is, like, they now I'm just using myself as the example, but all these coaches, it's loud as heck in here. They have headgears on, but they hear me. Like, and it's the same with the other coaches. The Medina kids hear Coach Gilmore. That's the only thing they hear. They just hear, wah, they just hear that white noise.
Right.
And then all of a sudden that voice
that one voice,
through, and they do exactly what you tell them. And that's, that's to me the most fun thing in the world. Like, you'll never catch me playing video games. This is what I like to do. I don't need a controller. I coach them during the week, and then I sit in the chair, and then there it is. I can do that for 12 hours straight, not bat an eye.
Well, we can hear Jamie whisper from the parking lot, though. He got that commanding voice. Yeah.
Commanding is probably, I've never heard it called that, but I do have a unique voice.
It's distinct.
The referees always laugh and say, "Oh, I heard you over at the other end of the gym. I didn't realize North Canton was here." And I
now
love
we
that.
know.
Yeah.
North Canton's in the house.
I better mind my P's and Q's. Fausnight's going to take me to the table over something stupid.
It's getting Fozzy out here.
Frill's going to head to round 2 here, period 2, trailing 2-0.
Yeah, he gave up a quick takedown. Nice fireman's that kid had. And Christian's such a little muscle-headed dude. He's like a tense guy. It's hard for him to be like relaxed out there. He's gritting his teeth the whole time he's out there, So he's susceptible to things like that, to a good fireman. But I'll tell you what, like I said before, he's a sophomore. He's right on track to have a good career.
Ooh,
nice little Turk.
Nice,
he lost it. Now he's in trouble. Get your head up.
Gets back to that fireman position. He likes that.
Yeah, he's tough with that.
His name's Caden Strong, by the way, from Clarkston.
Caden Strong.
Yeah.
And is that maybe another factor into deciding who you may want to have on that chair? Somebody like, as John and I mentioned, or you mentioned, Zach Meisner, who's got that loud bark and really can he can cut through any headgear
and honestly,
in any crowd.
Perfect example. Zach Meisner would probably not be the right person to be in the chair for Christian Frio, and I love Zach.
Right.
But Zach's crazy high energy. Like,
it might be too much for that kid.
Christian don't need that. He needs you to talk to him calm and cool.
Right.
You don't even have to give him instructions. Mostly what you're telling him is, you're okay. Breathe. Calm down. You're good. That's what you're not even giving a kid like that instruction, because you're just gonna. I joked yesterday. I said the little mouse in the wheel in Christian's head. If it starts running too fast, you're in trouble. You got. You got to calm that down.
Oh, excuse me, man. Thank you.
I relate it to my days playing football. Leadership takes all different forms. You can bark at a dude, you can get loud, you can kind of that rah approach works with some guys, and other guys are just going to shell up.
Right.
You've got to come with to some dudes with that calm energy. I remember a guy, case in point, Ted Ginn Jr. If he would muff a punt, he comes back and you bark at him, he's going to muff another punt, and he's going to drop a pass. But if you just kind of calm, collected,
you just remind him how special he is.
Yep. And then he goes out and makes a special ass play.
His tires. Yeah, it's easy.
There goes a 76-yard punt return.
We had that same conversation with Coach Baum last week. Like, you have to know your athletes. You have to know exactly what they need to hear. Like I said, with Christian kids like that, you have to remind them to breathe. They get so tense out there. In through your nose, out through your mouth.
Yeah.
You tell them to breathe.
A lot of people don't understand proper breathing techniques.
That's true. That's true.
I tell the kids, when I'm really training them hard, when I did those dungeon practices, and I'd have like 80 or 100 kids in the room, and they'd be running sprints. Really, I'd run them until one kid was about to break. Then I would just talk to them for a minute, let them catch their breath.
Right.
And what I would always tell them is, like, breathing is so important that your body does it without, it's unconscious. You can take a baby and put it underwater and it holds its breath.
It does automatically.
We can breathe. We don't stop breathing when we sleep. We don't stop breathing. So when you can do that, you can do it unconsciously. Imagine what it does for your body when you actually put thought into it.
Think about it.
You take a cleansing breath. I remember watching Sonny Marchetti go out of bounds, and before he put his foot on the line.
Yeah, he did the big.
And
I remember him doing
he was
that.
a buzzsaw, but he took that one moment. Same thing if you're in a batter's box.
Just get a bunch of oxygen into the body real quick.
Same thing if you're in a batter's box with a 3-2 count. You don't just go in there all tense. You tap the plate, you take a relaxing breath, and then you stare down the pitcher and you get ready to go. And I don't think enough people talk about how important that is. Boy, I'll tell you what, that Clarkson kid's tough that Christian came across.
Yeah, Christian's trailing 8-0 with a minute 30 remaining in the third period.
He's a throwback kid, man. He hit a fireman's. He hit 2 arm drags. That's old school coaching, man. It's cool. And you don't see a lot of kids hit that stuff, and he hits it really well. A lot of those techniques are just timeless. They just go in and out of style.
My daughter put down about 100-pound doe from about a couple hundred meters out, and I said, what was the trick? How'd you, got a clean shot right between the shoulder blades? She said, I remember I took that deep breath like you told me. He said that relaxed me up and let me make that clean, clear.
It's so important.
Yep.
I learned a lot from track coaches and speed coaches about how to kind of, when your heart starts racing and you're getting that high heartbeat, to be able to slow it down. You can control that. You can control your breathing. You can control it through your mind and your body, and you can slow your heart rate down if you want to, and that allows you to kind of recover quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to put that thought process into it in this, because there is no it's spurt, recover, and you never know how long the spurts are going to be. It could be 30 seconds, it could be 10 seconds, and you have to recover so quickly, and you have to put thought process into it. You have to tell kids to breathe sometimes. You got to tell them to relax, cleansing breath, and then get back at it. And get ready to spurt again.
30 seconds left here.
That's
Christian
a wrap.
trailing 14-0.
It's over. It's tech fall.
And we got a new top 4 here. Mayfield moving up in the tournament at the 4th spot with 112 points.
So what I do see out here, guys, where there's 2 refs, I believe those are the 7th and 8th matches. Where there's 1 ref, then it's still it's consi semis.
Jamie, you probably spot on here. I can check that out.
So then Christian just took 8th place. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I knew Christian was in for 7th and 8th right there, but I wasn't sure how we would be able to tell. But from what I see, I think the 2 officials are.
Look, 7th place. So you're correct. So that's Mat 5, and then it looks like Mat 2 is the other 7th place match. So that's
right here. That's how we'll be able to tell is when there's 2 officials.
Okay.
And that's a whole nother art of its own. Like I was so lucky to coach with such great guys that really taught me the officiating aspect of it. So when you have 2 officials, it's a whole new game. There's a whole different way you approach, how you handle your business as a coach in the corner. Number one, the side official is just there for help.
Right.
There's only certain things he can do. Okay. He can call a locking hands call that the other guy can see, like a penalty point. But he can't ever walk over and be like, hey, that was a takedown. You missed it. You got to call that too. He can't do that.
Right.
Now, what's fun about it is, as the coach, if you think that the other referee saw it differently, you can go to the table and tell the referee, hey, would you mind asking if he had a different opinion? That's the only thing that we have at this level that's kind of like instant replay.
Yeah.
You can go to the table and you just ask him, excuse me, can you ask his opinion on that? No problem.
Right.
He'll go over, he'll ask what his opinion was, and
give
if you
feedback
do it
then,
right.
yeah.
But what a lot of coaches don't understand is how to do it. They'll stand there and scream at the side official,
yes.
you saw that, that's a bad call.
Well, like
They
earlier,
don't understand. All you got to do is
Yeah.
go to the table and ask the ref, hey, do you mind going over and asking him what he thought about that call? And then he's pulled in, and then his opinion matters.
Well, remember during the Ashland match, he had a pro tip of the day. He said, "Oh, don't question that stall call.
Don't question a stall call ever. It's a judgment call,
Yeah.
and you can't question a judgment call at the table. And what's funny is there's a little trap that the referees will do. If they think you're a meathead and they don't like you, the first thing they'll say is when he walks over, he'll look at you and say, "Are you questioning my judgment?" And the guy says, "Well, yeah." He'll just go, technical violate or unsportsmanlike conduct, 1 team point, and then he'll just go right back out there. You never ever say yes to that question. And I've seen it many times. You can see the refs fired up, and he'll ask him right there, "Are you questioning my judgment?"
So what is the right response?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not. I just was curious what your criteria was for the call that you just made.
Gotcha.
I would never do that.
Right.
But
help me understand why you made that call.
Yep.
Right.
And you don't go to the table to get a call changed. You go to the table to get the next call.
To find out.
To get the next call.
To learn
So
that method to the madness of the ref. Yeah.
Sometimes if I don't see something clearly, sometimes I'll take the ref to the table just to have a conversation with him and agree with him. You know what? You're right. Sorry about that. I just wanted to check on that. So he knew that I saw it the same way. I understand where he was coming from. Then the next time when I go up and talk to him, he'll know that I'm not a meathead like that guy who's going to sit here and scream at the other official.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to know the ins and outs of how to approach these guys. They're in high stress scenarios as well.
Well, especially a tournament like this, you establish a good rapport with these throughout the tournament like that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to give you a better end result, especially when it's and it's maybe to your guy or the other guy. That they remember that.
I walk into a gym if I'm coaching, and the first thing I do is I go to the head table and ask who the head official is, just so I know. Because the last thing you want to do is when you need him, you got to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a lot of time for stuff like that, and you so rarely actually need that.
Yeah.
But when you do, it's serious. You know. So I always know who the head official was. Actually, I asked who it was, and I'm not sure which guy it is. I know a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I should have had Jamie Fausnight in my corner, man. That would have been a 3-timer.
Man, I'll tell you what, I coached with a guy named
Pulling Walsh up and getting the refund.
I coached with a guy named Paul Capper. And Paul Capper was actually the guy who beat my brother in the state finals. He was state champ for Green Bulldogs.
Wow.
And
right next door.
Yeah, he beat my brother. And Paul actually took second the year before to a North Canton kid.
Okay.
And but
Dinah
Paul
Highland looking for the pin over here.
Taught me so much about how to deal with the officials. And I'll tell you what, he'd go to the table. I remember one time years later when he was coaching a different team, my kid's warming up, all ready to go. And Paul's at the table at a youth tournament talking to the ref. I looked right at my kid. I go, "Put your warm-ups back on. This is going to take a minute." And Paul stood there and he argued until he got the score he wanted and went back on. I think that he won that match, and I think he got the score wrong in his favor by the time he was done. But that part of it is so fun because you really can impact the matches. I didn't realize how valuable you could be in the scenario when you're just working.
Here we go, Jamie. We got that spots guy from Ashland over here on mat 5, 1-1, third period, 1:35 left in it. That's 2:15. Is that him?
Yeah, that's him.
TJ, that spots there from Ashland on mat 5?
That's him.
That's him. All right, all right.
I was trying to find out there. We had the big boys going for 7th and 8th place. Looks like that was the sophomore from Medina Highland. I believe that was Bo Bendow taking on Gallagher,
Shout
the
out
junior
to
from
Bendow,
Avon
yeah.
Lake. So yeah, you talked about it, man. Looking for that 3rd place in the team totals.
It all adds up.
Just 1 point
Yep.
difference between Mayfield and Avon Lake. So I guess you look at what Gallagher, the junior, the heavy, was able to do there. He's going to take 8th place. So again,
that 1 point could be a bonus point from round 1.
Okay.
So like I said yesterday, when you come into the tournament, and you expect to win it, or you want to place real high, you talk about those things. Like when we have somebody that we're better than, we need to pin him or we need to score a bunch of points. We have to get our bonus points where they're there, because and when you get to these rounds, bonus points are a lot harder to come by.
Right.
So you take advantage of those in those matches. And it easily, that point could be won from, round 1, yesterday.
Right. Well, and as a coach, how important, Jamie, is it to stop, you talk about, taking a kid to, take a deep breath during the match, but what about like in between, tournaments, 2 days?
Yeah.
That conversation to say, hey, we need you, man. We need points for our team right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the conversation I had with like Christian Friel when he came up here. I'm like, look, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing fine, but you need to adjust this, and you just keep a kid like that positive, because it is a long day and you are going, you're having ups and downs like crazy. I always tell kids that when you get into tournaments, mostly postseason tournaments, when I really say it a lot is number 1, there's no such thing as an ugly win. All season long, I might chew you out if you wrestle like crap and win, or I'll praise you if you wrestle great and lose. But when it comes to the postseason part, there's no such thing as an ugly win, and don't get too high and don't get too low. No matter what, no matter how big of a win you had, there's still more matches to go. Don't put the horse in front of the carriage. Yeah, you have to manage them, and you have to keep yourself together. We have Alex Bosky starting on mat 4. This is our.
All right. And Bosky is up against, hold on here. We'll get that.
He's a Buckeye kid that lost in the semis, I believe. He's a lanky kid. That's usually to Alex's advantage. He struggles with the guys that are a little more stout.
And the boy he's wrestling is last name Martin from Buckeye out there. Yeah, going back to the the old scouting report thing, I used to, I think now, you can, do a lot, I think quicker, just from looking around, spot, okay, that kid, before he hits that shot, he taps his elbow, it's like little stuff like that. I mean, that's about it. You really need, I think,
Yeah. You just look at the little things like, okay, he's got a right foot lead leg. He tends to put a little too much weight on that front foot. So look for your single leg.
Right.
Or he shot 6 high crotches. We got to circle right. We got to stay away from that shot. Those little things are all you really need. If you try to develop a 6-minute strategy, it's not going to happen. Same as in football. Like they do script the first series.
Right.
They obviously can't script the whole game. It's the same concept.
The heel thing. I hear coaches always screaming, he's on his heels.
Yeah.
Attack. He's back on his heels.
So let's see if Alex can score some quick back points. He's a great tilt guy on top. He's got that nasty little roll through tilt. If he gets that cross wrist,
it's over.
Yeah, he's got the cross wrist, but that guy's peeling it off right away. He's like, I'm not falling for that no banana in the tailpipe here.
Scoreless as they've gone into period 2 now. Yeah, the old banana in the tailpipe.
Oh, there's that roll through tilt, but he's got to get his elbow in front. He can't keep him in. There it is. He's got it now.
The wrestling him would be like, that's like playing Notre Dame in Ohio State.
There's a whole series there.
Don't know what they're going to do. They might put Rudy out there.
Watch out for Rudiger.
Otzi.
Oh, so he got 3 back. See if we can. And this is where he's funky. He's good in these positions here.
Ooh.
3-0 lead for Bosky.
He might get called for stalling, hanging down on the feet like that. Now he's posturing up.
He's in good shape. Yeah.
He's in good shape now.
Talk about comfort, man, in a stress position. That dude just knows how to relax.
There's where Peterson is.
Watch
out. He catches that far wrist.
But talk about taking a deep breath.
And then,
There he goes.
the flexibility side of things too.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, he lost the wrist.
Got to keep that wrist in
Took an elbow shot right across the face too.
He could use it. He's not that good looking. It won't hurt nothing. It won't hurt nothing.
Turn him into a real Viking.
There he goes, that wrist again. Here it is. Keep the wrist. That's where we said yesterday, he's got to keep walking his feet towards the other guy, and it'll kind of just come together.
It all kind of rolls over.
Yep.
The hips, the battle of hips. So, Jamie, what's in those scenarios? I remember coaches used to say, "Hey, the higher hip wins." Is that always true? Or?
I tend to in those scramble drills that I tend to tell them, the guy whose head's higher wins.
High, yep.
If you posture, you're in a better advantage. If your head's on the mat, you're never in a great spot.
Right.
I don't care if you're pinning somebody. You never want your head on the mat.
Heaviest part of your body, your head, right?
Yeah, if it's on those, a lot of times it is.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining in period 2.
Solid period. Kid shows
3-0
down. We come
lead
away
for
with 3
Bosky.
points. We'll take that. Then we put him on bottom where he's at his most dangerous.
Yeah, that was something that John and I talked about on the way up was the flexibility side of things.
Yeah.
When you get put into a what we call a precarious position where it's like, okay, how do I breathe when I'm folded up,
right?
Like the lawn chair, our guy Bostic, Jimmy B.
The Jimmy B accordion.
Yeah, when you're in that accordion position, I mean, you've got to be able to control your breathing and not freak out.
Sometimes you can't.
Right.
If the top guy's good, you're not.
Yeah.
You want to make him not be able to breathe. Not by choking. We don't do in wrestling, there is no, you don't come across the throat and choke people. But if you smother him, you're like a python. You get him in certain spots and you feel that exhale come out and then you cinch down a little tighter. You don't want him to breathe.
Over here on mat 2.
Nasty.
That's the Star County Media toss of the day.
Yeah.
Man, that was nice. That's from
those Firelands.
Slim. And that's Connor Rogers from the Firelands on that against Sam Lawton, New Lexington. All kinds of
kids running that Blair bar on top. You see that when the kids from Blair Academy in New Jersey, they run that Blair bar. They get that wrist and they run it to the outside. That's a tough move. He ended up figuring out he doesn't want to stay on the mat with Alex anymore.
Well, I'm glad you brought that to
50 seconds remaining. 4-0 lead for Bosky.
That's something I always talk about.
Class A clinger. He can hold. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Alex can hold on to it in that spot. I'm telling you, if one of us was dangling off this railing, you want Alex Bosky to have a hold of you. He don't let go of stuff. He's going to score here. He's going to pop his head there and score.
There it is.
Oh, well, I guess not. Right back in on the leg. That's where
Smart though, yeah.
Yep.
Well,
hang on and grip him up and kill time, right?
Yep.
Well, it looked,
shorten the match.
Well, when he almost scored there, where was his head?
Peterson.
Off the mat, like you said, Jamie.
Oh. He's still got the leg.
He's
going to come out the back door.
He's going to come out the back door. Yeah, he's safe there.
He's fine. He knows exactly what his score is. Oh, he got it.
There it is.
Stuck.
Backs. He's stuck.
Sticking.
That's a pin. We need those
to finish it. 5 seconds remaining.
He must not
that's
have
a pin.
We'll take it. Great weekend.
All right. 6-0 victory for Bosky.
It's a hard vantage point, but
in for
looked pretty stuck to me.
Alex Bosky.
Nice.
And that's what he does. It's hard to prepare for a kid like that,
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't wrestle like anybody else.
We talked about that a lot yesterday.
Facing the unknown.
And he can wrestle with super high level kids. He wrestled the I forget the kid's name over at Findlay. I think it was the Perrysburg kid. It was ranked number 1 in the state, returning state runner up.
Wow.
It was 3-3 going into the third.
Dang.
And I'm like, Alex, you don't need to be. He was a sophomore last year, still getting beat up a little bit. Now you're an upperclassman. You don't have to sweat those guys. You can compete at a high level. Those guys don't know how to wrestle you.
Well, and I liked your point earlier about the, hitting that Blair ride with the bar.
The Blair bar.
Because me and Jim always talk about this, and we always say the secret sauce is out, man.
Yeah.
So it's cool. We're here in Medina Invitational. We're not the Ironman even,
right?
And we're seeing kids, using the same technique.
The technique is at your fingertips. Like,
it is.
If you as a coach go stale, that's on you. You don't have to pay $500 to go to to Grant or to Blair Academy to learn how to do that.
No.
You can go on YouTube and watch Nick Soriano teach it at a clinic.
Right.
You know, and
right.
it's great. And I mean, I've learned so much stuff. I was always a visual learner. I would come to this tournament, I'd see a cool move, and I'd go out and try it.
No, chin whip. He didn't score with it, though.
I can't imagine what kind of a wrestler I'd have been if I could watch YouTube videos at home and just.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
It would be ridiculous.
Just digest all of that info
24/7. I do it as a coach.
Right.
You know, I've learned stuff that I was never taught. I teach things that was never taught because all that technique is there at your fingertips.
Right there, yeah. Tune into Stark County Media broadcast.
Yeah, speaking of our YouTube channel, Stark Media Team YouTube channel, we want to shout out some of our partners here that make it happen for us. CH Vallos and Associates over at 1302 South Main Street in North Canton. Call them at 330-494-2776 for all your home, auto, life, and financial service needs. A staple in the North Canton community for over 75 years. And when you're looking for that game day selection, you got the big games coming up on Saturday, whatever it might be, tonight, tomorrow. Call Lindseys Pizza, located inside the Hillsdale Shopping Center at 2827 Whipple Avenue in Canton. Call them at 477-3800 or order online at lindseys.pizza.com. They're open till 11. Pizza, chicken, subs, salads, and calzones. The official post-game, post-match pizza of the Stark Media Team. And the Eagles FOE number 190, located in downtown Massillon. Call them at 832-7385. Sign up for your membership today and be a part of a fraternity that donates over $100,000 a year to local charities. Have access to a banquet facility that can host up to 400 when you're looking to plan your next event. Stop out, talk to our guys at the Eagles. It's $20 to sign up for your membership for a yearly. You have access to that facility and great food and drink specials that they host all year long. And then our friends over at Hilscher-Clarke Electric Company, with locations all over Ohio, more than 100 years of experience in the industrial, commercial, residential, and specialty markets. Call them at 452-9806. They are looking for those young tradesmen coming out of school. So if you're getting into the electric business, contact Hilscher-Clarke Electric Company. They are also down at 519 4th Street Northwest. We talked to a bunch of guys that Jim Bosick was interviewing and said, hey, you know, we're going into the trades and we need more people out there like that, man.
We do. Yeah, absolutely. Great way
and it pays good.
Yeah, it does. Good way to get your feet wet in a career that you can.
More. I told you I work with Sean Smith, who is state champion for Perry, and we sell leads, digital marketing. You know,
that's awesome.
And we work with plumbers, electricians, all that stuff. It's really neat, and we do the society needs more of those. You know, when I was a kid in the 90s, you know, in the 80s, we were like, go to college or you're not going to make it.
Right.
So many kids drank that Kool-Aid that all of a sudden there's just like not enough people doing these other jobs, and they're paying higher than a lot of those jobs you needed, you know, a 4-year degree for.
Right. Spot on there.
We're going to talk about one more of our partners here, and I know Cody Butzer, he's probably listening, so I'll give him a free shout out too with his Hercules Tree Service. But I'm going to tell you right now, call my guys at McNeill and Sons Tree Service. They're located in the Portage Lakes area. They're fast, reliable, and affordable. If you've ever had to have any of those large trees taken off or removed from your property, you know that it can get expensive. With these guys at McNeill and Sons Tree Service, they will leave your property looking better than it did before. Call them at 330-606-1126. Get a free quote. They'll consult you on your tree health and help keep your property and maintain its integrity. Before those trees get too close to your home or auto, contact Tom McNeill at McNeill and Sons Tree Service. Again, 606-1126.
Little change in the team race just now. I see they updated the team score. 4th place, Avon Lake at 113.5. In 3rd place, Highland Medina, 122.5. Wasion back up in that 2nd spot at 151. And Buckeye is just at 206. They broke the 200.
They're running away now.
Yeah. We got right there in front of us on mat 2, Oak Harbor, Hayden and Burrow up against Cameron Mick. Both these guys are seniors battling out there. Cameron's from Beaver Creek, and lots of action. You know, these guys are, again, upper weight class. To see the success that I'm seeing, you know, at all these events is incredible.
Remind us again. I know that we're going to start to finish up here, and then they will reshift the mats as Lynn kind of plugged us in yesterday?
As soon as this round ends, they'll remove this mat. They'll slide these 3 to center stage.
Okay.
And you'll have, third and fourth here, first and second, spotlight dance for, first and second will be in the middle, and then fifth and sixth will be. Whoa. Man,
what's the call?
That was a
Jamie,
big
what's,
boy move.
what's the call there? Yeah.
That's a claw lift, and you can get away with that. That's one of those that if it's done right, it's so technical.
Yeah.
And really, it's not a power move. You go claw here, you just pop your hips, you get his toes off the ground that much,
that's all you need.
Yank his head down, and he just goes ass over tin cups. That's what I call it.
Teeter-totter.
But he can't. he can't. You can't land on him at full force. It's almost like how Joey Bosa, when he tackles a quarterback, he crushes him to death, and now that's roughing the passer.
Right.
Right.
It's that's kind of the same concept. You can put him from his feet directly to his back, but it has to have some. It has to be technical.
Is that a 1 point, Jamie, for the opponent?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
it's.
I saw the official.
It's an illegal hold.
Yeah.
It's an illegal move. So realistically, if the Oak Harbor kid can't continue, he wins by disqualification.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
No.
But wrestling is a
I kinda
sport of
don't like
honor.
that, though.
It is what it is. Wrestling's a
Yeah.
sport of honor. If you can go, you're going to go. Coaches are not going to be like,
Right.
he can't go. That doesn't really happen.
Everybody knows the rules.
And if it does, that guy's not going to be around long. That coach,
Right.
the wrestling community will eat a guy like that alive. The kids will compete.
They should put on the back on the officials' jerseys. Everybody knows the rules.
It was a legit call. Like we all three heard it through our headphones.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
That was a thud.
I felt it. Yeah, my grandma felt it. Yeah.
Granny's granny felt it.
Yeah.
And that's a power move.
It's more technical.
And you think too, the reverberation that gets sent back to you. Boy, you seen that headbutt that came back there on him as well.
Shout out to my granny, by the way. She actually came over to the house last night, spent the night. It's good to spend time family during the holidays,
Absolutely.
Yep.
There's a little conversation. Not really sure.
I think a little bit of it had to do with that he popped his head back and it's getting physical.
It's getting froggy. That's what I call it. It's starting to get froggy out there.
the Fausnight froggy.
It starts to get froggy, man. Or chippy. It's starting to get chippy. I say chippy. That too. And you can feel it. You can sense it when it's starting to get like that. And it's up to the referee, to stop the match and be like, listen, fellas, it's not a street fight. I'm cool with you being nasty and physical, but we do have rules we got to follow. So, go hard and try to score points. And then it's also the coaches, you might have a kid who, as soon as it starts to get chippy, he's not going to be on his game. You spoke about that yesterday, the psychological warfare. I was fortunate that I could kind of play that game too. I, give him a little shove on the out of bounds line, and then all of a sudden be technical as it could get. You get him out of his game a little bit, and then all of a sudden you turn up the technique. Or if he's a little more technical than you, then you bang his head, you shove him out of bounds, and you make a street fight out of it. Yeah. But as soon as it starts to get clubbing, that's when you have to attack with proper technique, or it just you
throw it off the window.
You can't compete at a high level like that. You got to be able to switch it back.
Because for about 5 to 6 seconds, what's going through his head is, man, that son of a did he just do that to me? Well, no, you're not thinking about what you're supposed to be thinking about.
That's one of those take a deep breath moments.
There was it is chippy, man. That was nice. That was a nasty little crossface. He gonna do it again.
Look at that stack.
He got two out. He got a smack out of that.
There's the accordion. Well earned points there.
And that's it's Oak Harbor there in the green, right?
Yeah, yep.
That's a 4-1 advantage now with 30 seconds remaining in the second period for Oak Harbor.
Guys, we might be looking at the next Bergman, JD. About that same weight class too, and got that power behind him.
I think he was a heavyweight too.
Did he?
I think so.
He was massive. I know that. Yeah. I wrestled against the Bergmans a few times. Paul was the youngest, I think, that was closer to my age, and seen him a few times out that actually at Finley. We're at the Finley Wrestling.
The Open? The College Open?
No, the camp. There was a wrestling camp. You were there, Jamie.
I worked that camp.
You worked that camp.
I did work that camp.
Yeah, you worked me at that camp.
Honestly, in all my years, that was the best camp I was ever a part of. And I was on the team. You know, I was just a college kid there. We had Miran Kirchilava.
Yep.
We had
Miran was there. Yeah.
Alberto Rodriguez, who was
the Cuban,
an 11-time Cuban national champion.
Yes.
You know, he was in our coaching staff. Then we had Roger Chandler, that was just a Big Ten champ.
Right.
Alan Freed. Alan Freed, who is like, the
brand's killer.
He wrestled in this tournament, St. Ed's guy.
If you're not sure who Alan Freed is, YouTube his name in a search and watch him.
You know what?
Head and arm Terry Brands to his back.
Alan Freed and I became fast friends at the bar that night. And we sat there, and actually even the same guy I was texting about the Michigan stuff, I was like, we were sitting there, and there's like 14 people at this table, and I looked at him, and I was like, I've never felt safer in my entire life. I'm like, if somebody said something to one of us, oh my gosh,
we're safe.
We're good.
They would leave him where they found him. And honestly, like, I remember I was walking with Alan Freed, maybe up to the bar to get another drink or something. This guy comes up and he goes, "You're Alan Freed? You're Alan Freed?" He's like, yeah. And he's like, "Where'd you go to college?" And he's like, "I think it was Illinois." He rattled it off, and he's like, "You're not Alan Freed." And he goes, "Well, seriously." And he shows him his ID. And it's just a dude that I was having fun with earlier. He shows the kid his ID, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you were my idol my whole life as a wrestler." It was just really cool to see that. And I'll tell you what, that's a really nice, cool thing about our sport is, people that you look up to and you aspire to be like, and they're like icons. Mm-hmm. You can walk right past them at a thing like this. You'll have a conversation with them, and everybody's super cool. It isn't like Michael Jordan or LeBron James where you'll never ever cross paths with them in a million years.
Jamie, that's a really good point.
You can bump into a dude that it's funny. Like it actually happened here one time. I was talking to a kid in the hallway, right by the stairs, and I was like, I think you just need to watch more wrestling. I think you need to see more. Right. I said, I remember when I was in high school, coach gave me an Ohio State highlight film. And I sat and I watched it over and over, and I fell in love with a couple of these guys. And no kidding, right when I said that, one of the guys came walking down the stairs that was on that Ohio State highlight film.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, as a matter of fact, he was one of them right here. He was one of the guys, and right on cue. It was nuts. And that's one of the things that's super cool about our sport is that
Jim Otis. Look at that bonus round here. 3 seconds remaining. And I believe that's the young man on the bottom is Miami East.
We're at
Adam DeSabato. That's who it was.
Oh, DeSabato.
Shout out to him. Shout out to my guy Mike DeSabato, man, the legend Mike. Down there. Always took care of me, man. Down in Columbus.
I'd be comfortable with him next to me, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whole family, man. Yeah. That's a family affair there.
Yeah.
Well, you guys were talking about how you can put those points together so quick. I mean, that was a 1-1 contest right there in the fourth. And with about 10 seconds remaining, guy put together a 4-point move.
Yep. It happens fast. Here's that Mansfield senior kid
from earlier.
Watched in the semis. We'd like to see the
Bradley,
the Ashland kid.
Yeah,
I want to see those two wrestle. I think the Ashland kid won.
And in this Mansfield senior boy, his last name's Bradley. He's up against Crawford from Genoa.
Yeah, I want to see those two wrestle in the finals. It'll be a nice neighborhood battle.
Yeah. Cool to see that those rivalries happen at a big tournament like this in the finals.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, the scouting report we got on him, and he's not super offensive. We won't say where we got our scouting report from, but he's just a solid dude, athletic kid. I'm sure he was on that football team that took over that second half on us.
Digital lead sell I made to Jamie earlier.
Yeah, that was interesting to me, man, because that was a tight ball game going into halftime.
Yeah, I didn't know that game.
They ran away with it.
The wheels fell off it at some point.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with Coach Baum over there at Hoover Holiday, man. He was talking about how that tough out-of-conference schedule.
Yeah, right. Buchtel. I love a good Buchtel game, man. They always have some goers. And again, it's a strong community. They have a lot of pride in they bring a lot of people to the games. The kids play hard. They're prideful of their community.
Right.
You don't always get that in some city schools throughout the country, and I love it that Akron Bookdale's one of those. I have a real good friend who's a teacher at Akron Bookdale too. I want her to. Keep telling her she's got to steal me a Bookdale wrestling shirt.
Nice. Okay. All right. Yeah, Bookdale always was a tough staple in the sport. I think we played Bookdale in the state playoffs in a close one out there.
Yeah.
And man, they've always just been
in like
tough.
95.
Yeah,
Yeah.
late 90s. Yeah.
Tough teams, man. We played them over at Fawcett Stadium. They had a defensive end that was going against me full ride to Tennessee, and they always have a guy.
That was Buddy. I'm sorry to interrupt.
They always at least got one or two guys that are D1 dudes.
That was my senior year, but Walsh Jesuit beat us to get to Bookdale. Buddy Rottinghouse was the running back. He was about your size, tailback.
Jeez.
Freaking
have fun with that.
Yeah.
He did put the ball on the ground. That was the scouting report. We had to hit him hard. He might put the ball on the ground. But I mean, that was a tough Walsh Jesuit team. And then they played Bookdale next, and Bookdale I think beat them. Fawcett Stadium. We played at Fawcett Stadium. It was one of the last years on grass.
That was before me. Yeah, that was before my time. Yeah.
That turf over there at Fawcett was just awful. It's like playing on razor blades, man.
Same with Massillon's. Yeah, man. Talk about getting like mat burns. That turf used to your forearms. If you didn't wear like those, they made those little sleeves.
You get the strawberries.
They said the worst was at the rubber ball. In like the 80s, 90s. I heard it was like cement.
It's like playing out in the parking lot.
It was terrible.
The roller rink.
You probably have a better outcome playing in the parking lot.
Fawcett was grass when I played on it. It was the last year it was grass. We knew that too.
Yeah.
We knew that. So of all the history on that field, I was on one of the last 10 or 12 games. It was first round of the playoffs. It was one of the last games that Fawcett had grass. They put in artificial turf the next year.
So your guy from Mansfield Senior, he's going to head to the third period with a 1-0 lead.
That's exactly what the last match was. It was an overtime match. It was 1-1 going into the third, or 1-1 going into overtime.
Jamie, we're talking about off-season camps. The Findlay one we mentioned, we were both part of. I was a camper. You were a counselor at it. But how important is it for these guys to be involved in something like that in the offseason?
Before you answer that, he did make mention on the ride home last night. He's like, I was talking to Jamie about when I was at that camp. He's like, I don't think Jamie remembered, but he beat my ass. Just like completely beat my ass at this thing. He's like,
I'll tell you what.
John remembered that ass whooping.
When I wrestled at Findlay, I was obviously at my peak, and like I didn't really have a shut off mode. Like it was
shut off
mode. There was one way to do it, and I can't. It was and I was not even one of the tough guys on that team. As far as the camps go, I like the freestyle stuff that's like twice a week.
Right.
You do it for 6 weeks. That's one thing. Now the camps like what you're talking about, where the kids go and they stay in the dorms for a week or so, or like the Jordan Train type camps.
Right. Those 3-day quick ones. Yeah.
The thing of those are great for team building.
Right.
That's what you do that for, is you
build that rapport.
You take the kids away from home, and you do. But COVID has really destroyed that, because no campuses have allowed kids to stay in their dorms in the summers since then. So this group of North Canton kids, like my son's grade, like Alex Bosky, they've never been to a camp like that.
Okay.
But, and we always did. We would go and we would stay in the dorms for a week, and we would learn wrestling all day and all that stuff. None of those have been available since my kid's been in high school.
So it's a game changer. So then you just fall back like on the open mats, things like that.
We did the Jordan camp.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, they play by different rules, so they still do their thing.
Yeah.
We've done that the last 2 years, and then we do the Samurai Freestyle Club with with the Coleman with Micah Coleman over there in Louisville, and his dad, who's just an incredible coach,
Jeff Coleman. Shout out to Jeff.
You know what?
That was fun going over there. Jimmy B, getting in the room with them, and Mike had some great things to say. I mean, think about that. His coaching staff, his dad, Rocky, He's brought back Adam Gregory to work with his bigs.
Right.
Coach Burke. Coach Burke was the head coach at Louisville for many years.
Yeah.
Burke
Burkerbauer.
Yeah.
My kid's teacher. Elementary
He's
school.
a good dude, man. He's fun. He's good, clean fun. Well,
So the young man from Mansfield Senior, he got
rode
the
him out.
victory, 1-0.
He rode him out. He kept him down for that whole period.
Got another one, John. I don't know if you can pull that up here, mat number 6. I believe this is going to be our final
It'll be the
match,
final
right?
one, I
Final
think.
match of the night.
I don't see anybody
Well,
else.
not the
warming
night,
up.
but of the
We'll
round
shut down
This
here
is
for a little bit and
Timmy
get ready
Shores.
for the finals.
Timmy Shores of Cloverleaf versus Nico
hours.
Trazik of Mayfield. Mayfield, man, they bring in the
Green
heat
on
at this
green.
tournament. Yeah.
Green on green, scoreless.
Shout out to Mayfield.
The Wildcats.
Yep, the Zako family. I know I got a message from them last night. Shout out to Kathy. Her boys are wrestling in the youth program there at Mayfield and loving it. And I like seeing that, kids, first getting into the sport and liking a new part of it's a lifestyle. People talk to me about wrestling and they're like, hey, it's almost became a lifestyle, not just my kid participating in a sporting event on the weekend, and it really is.
Well, you're not just here for 2 hours.
Right.
It's not just a basketball game.
Right.
You're getting the idea. You come to these tournaments and it's like,
you're getting your money's worth.
You show up, I got here at 9:15, all excited for wrestling, and I'll be here till, well, the finals are at 3:30, so we'll get out of here at a reasonable time, but it's just a part of the sport. You can't just, the dual meets are fun, but that's just one match. You want your kids to get as many matches as they can in a weekend.
Yep. Well, by the way, Mayfield is in it to win it. Well, not to win the team title, but they're in the 5th spot in the team race, and they're only a point behind Avon Lake, who was in 4th ahead of them. And then Highland Medina up there in 3rd at 134.
In the top 5.
So
you're respectable.
That's a respectable accomplishment, man. Yeah.
Well, Highland must have just jumped and got some big points there.
They did, yeah. They're not rounds.
Okay.
Yeah. You see that? Yeah. So
now, obviously, when you talk about the separation here between Mayfield and Avon Lake, I mean, this match right down here is scoreless heading to the 3rd period.
This could make it or break it. Yeah. Bring back in the top 4.
Big deal.
Yeah.
And you can tell, look around, there's
the young guy from Mayfield is going to go on the bottom.
There's all kinds of kids watching from all around.
It's like the old Fight Club experience. Everybody gathers around in a circle. Yeah.
Circle up. So one more period. See what happens here between Cloverleaf.
Well, Jamie,
Mayfield.
Credit to you though. I'm at this camp, right? And Jamie mentioned, the Cuban wrestler that was there. Alberto, unbelievable. He had Miran Karchilava there, unbelievable. But I'll tell you one, shout out to Jamie here. You know who I learned the most from? Jamie Fausnight.
I appreciate that. I don't remember.
He don't remember dishing out the butt.
John remembers.
What's really funny, I got to give some props here. The University of Findlay has cranked out, at least in my era, some really good coaches. Like just here, we have Matt Terrell here coaching for Galleon. Like I mentioned before, Mike Conflitty's running a club team out of Detroit. You got Jamie Ramirez down in Central Crossing, who's been cranking out killers for like the last 10 years. Matt Hammonds is coaching Jonathan Alter. Stephen Taylor was coaching in Centerville. They're all over the place. And then Pablo Castro is the jiu-jitsu guy at Strong Style Fight Team. He's Stipe Miocic's head jiu-jitsu coach. His son was Pito Castro that wrestled for Louisville last year.
From Louisville, yeah.
Pablo is his dad. Pito's dad.
I met him before, yeah.
He's
no kidding.
He's one of the best jiu-jitsu coaches in the country. And those are all guys that I wrestled with in college, and it's just really neat. Steph Taylor's down in, or not Steph Taylor. Now I can't remember his name. Kelly Stevens is down in Vidalia Butler. They're just all over the state, and they're all run really good programs, really good dudes.
Look at this. Mayfield just took 2 points. 3 seconds remain.
I'm proud to be a part of that group of guys.
Got the stall call.
Didn't matter. Didn't matter. Look at it. They didn't like this stall call. Look at all the refs running away. They're like, yeah, they're
See you guys.
yeah,
We're going to get a chicken
yeah,
sandwich in the hospitality room.
Right.
All right, well, that's going to bring an end to this portion of the 46 MIT here at Medina Senior High School. Shout out to, we were talking on the way up, John, Larry Laird, head football coach over there, checking out the action. They got a nice quarterback that he sent over to Penn State.
Oh, yeah.
I know Drew Allers got a lot of promise for his career coming up, and Coach Laird was the head coach for the North All-Star team that was played down there at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium this past year.
Okay.
So he put together a nice group, good coaching staff, and Larry Laird has done a really good job up here with this football program. And as we get ready to shut things down here, we'll join you back again here in about an hour or two, get you fired up here for the finals. Again, we want to shout out some of our partners here at Stark Media. It starts with our friends at the Eagles FOE number 190. They are open 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday, and 11 to 8:30 on Sunday. Go to their website at eagles190.com or call them at 330-832-7385. They make these presentations on the Stark Media Team YouTube channel possible. It also starts with our friends at Vallos and Associates, McNeill and Sons Tree Service, Lindseys Pizza, finallyhereohio.com, Leathernecks Nation MC, the Sam Center, and Save22.vet. Hilscher-Clarke Electric Company. And as we talk about our friends over at Leathernecks Nation MC, want to give a shout out to the young man, Colton Arnold, down there at the Wheeling Duels. I believe he's up to 13 or 14 pins now.
Mm-hmm.
So still a long way to go. I think he set his sights on, 40
pins.
Yeah.
It's to break the record, his own record, of course.
Yeah. So, and it's funny, as we went over there to do the last episode of In the Room with Jimmy B, they have the list, right, of all the records for Jackson, and they have Colton's pin record wrong. They shorted him like 3 or 4 pins from last year, and Vic was kind of like looking up. He's like, oh, they got my state championship right, and they got this record right. He's like, what about those pins? He's like, it's all right. I'll have it done by the end of the year.
Makes it easier to beat then,
Yeah.
Exactly. But, hey, I'll tell you what, the battle for veterans continues even after they've returned home from war, fighting PTSD, health battles, suicidal thoughts, and more. Every day, 22 veterans commit suicide, losing their battle against their demons. And Tom Indor, founder of Save 22, Tim Arnold, who we just mentioned, father of Colton Arnold, proud dad of that young man down there at the Wheeling Duels, and heavyweight wrestler for the Jackson Polar Bears, Padre, and all with the Leathernecks Nation MC and our friends Dave and Brian Bowman, along with Lucia at the Sam Center, are standing up for their fellow soldiers. Save 22 Veterans, founded in Carrollton, serves as a resource for veterans, first responders, and those in need alike, focusing on veteran suicide prevention and awareness locally and beyond. Save 22, a veteran-run organization, offers a number of veteran therapy programs, from professional racing, fishing, camping, and outdoor adventures, or a shoulder to lean on and an ear to listen. For more information, visit their website at save22.vet or follow Save 22 on social media by searching Save 22-Veterans. Also, Jamie mentioned, this isn't like a basketball game. It's not that quick 1 to 2 hours, quick hitter and get out of there. But tomorrow night, you can catch our guys Sam Berkwin and Lee Foster on 99.7 FM, Canton's new country and Stark Media's new home, also on the free iHeartRadio app, as the Hoover Vikings will be taking on the Alliance Aviators. That game will be a 5:30 start. Got some different things going on here for the holidays, so that will be a 5:30, not your traditional 7. So make sure to tune in about 5:15 and catch our guys on 99.7 FM and the free iHeartRadio app. All right, for my guys, John Lowery, Jamie Fausnight, we're going to shut it down here for a bit. Appreciate everybody tuning in to us on the Stark Media Team YouTube channel. Check us out on social media. Follow, like, subscribe, share, spread the word here as we get this wrestling portion of Stark Media Group out to the masses. And we will see you back here in just about an hour and a half. So long. Until then, come back and get some more wrestling here at the 46 MI.